What's up, Kobe Sharp, 5th grade teacher. Welcome to my channel. Here we try to help kids fall in love with reading. If you want to help kids fall in love with reading, if you care about the books that they read, helping them find the right books, helping them find the books that will touch them and change their lives forever, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Today we're going to be talking about 10 picture books that I read aloud to my 5th graders during the month of October. Down below I'll have a link to a bookshop.org list of all of the books mentioned in this video, as well as all of the picture books that I have read aloud to my 5th graders this school year. And I'll try to update it about once a month so that you can go back to that list and find some great books to share with the readers. All right, let's get into these 10 amazing picture books. A lot of the energy and buzz around picture book reading in my classroom is centered around Fridays, because we started this thing called Weird Book Friday, where every Friday I try to read them a super weird picture book. And it's been interesting how our conversations about what makes a book weird, because basically any book in a way could be thought of as weird, but this is one that we read to celebrate Weird Book Friday, the Cat Way. It's about this girl and her cat, and they go for walks, which is lovely, just around the neighborhood and things. But one day the cat is like, starts talking to her and is like, I don't want to go where you want to go. That's not the walk I want to take. And then so they like get in this like argument and fight, and then the girl like goes home and misses the cat, and then they decide to just maybe take turns who leads the walk. How weird is that? But it's amazing. And my 5th graders loved it, and I loved it. And we're like, what did we just read? A weird, awesome book. One of my all-time favorite picture book biographies, The Oldest Student, How Mary Walker Learned to Read. This is a girl who was born into slavery, spent her childhood as a slave, eventually was freed through the Emancipation Proclamation, then grew up a very poor life, sharecropper. Things weren't the best, never learned to read, always wanted to read, carried a Bible around for decades. Eventually at 114 years old, she learned to read. And it was a big deal. She got like letters from presidents, and it's just a wild life. And one thing that is so fascinating to me is the importance of reading, how much this woman wanted to learn to read, but also how much can happen in a lifetime. I mean, she lived over 120 years, but she went from being born a slave to living through humans walking on the moon. How wild is that? But if you haven't read this book, check it out. It's fantastic. Remember, all these books are in that bookshop link that I talked about at the beginning of the video. This Is Not My Hat, John Clausen, his Caldecott Medal winning book. We also read This Is Not My Hat by John Clausen this month, and both as part of Weird Book Friday. And if you haven't read these, like, you've probably read these, but just go back and read them. There's nothing like the anticipation and the excitement that comes from one of John's books. We love it so much. This is a 2025 book. It's called The Gift of the Great Buffalo. It's by Carol Lindstrom and Allie McKnight, and it's the story, takes place in the 1800s, of this great buffalo hunt. I believe it's in like the Montana area, if I'm remembering correctly, that this family goes on. The girl's not allowed to go, but she eventually just goes anyway. And it's just a beautiful story of something that I really knew nothing about. And I loved it, and I love sharing it with my kids. So be sure to be on the lookout for this. I think it's March of 2025, but I'm not exactly sure. You can find out more in that link. When we were reading Peter Brown's The Wild Robot, we tried to read a bunch of his picture books throughout. So this month we read at least 3. We read The Curious Garden. We read You Will Be My Friend. We read Children Make Terrible Pets. I'm looking at them all on the shelf over there. And we read Mr. Tiger Goes Wild, which I think was their favorite of all of the picture books that we read of Peter Brown. So, story of a tiger who is sick of just being all proper and dressed up and fancy, and wants to be wild, and wants to be free, and wants to be its true tiger self. And the townspeople, not thrilled. Jess, Hanigan, Spider in the Wells, maybe my favorite 2024 picture book read aloud. It's a story of this little newsboy in this town, and the wishes that the townspeople are making in the well are starting to not come true. So he has to go investigate. He finds there's a spider in the well. This is a story about bribery, about lies, about cheating, about mystery. Holy smokes, it's so much fun. It has a big time feel of a John Clausen book. So if your kids like John Clausen, they're going to love Jess Hanigan, and she's got another book coming out in 2025. When we were working on visualizing, I read them 10-word tiny tales. And what's fun about these is they are 10-word stories. So I would read them the first one, which I will do for you now. My splintered oars are lost as my boat speeds onward. And then I'd ask them to try to picture that in their heads, visualize that. My splintered oars are lost as my boat speeds onward, and then I would show them the picture. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so wild. And I would do that 3 or 4 times, and they just could not get enough. They absolutely love these. In a perfect world, I would have them create their own 10-word tiny tales and have different kids illustrate them. All kinds of fun is possible with this book. And there's another one coming out, I think like 10-word love stories or something like that is coming out very soon, if not already. Gross as a Snot Otter. Got to read some nonfiction, of course. And these weird World of Weird Animal books from Jess Keating are amazing. You probably know Pink is for Blobfish was the first one. We just had so much fun reading about these gross animals and just the weirdness that they have. So lots and lots of fun to read that one. And what was fun about reading this is I got a ton of kids to want to read more of the books in the series, which was really awesome. Find all those some more of those ones right there. Next up, Pepper and Me. One of my favorite weird books of 2024 is the story of a girl and her scab, Pepper. And the scab comes and she's not happy. She falls, scrapes her knee, and eventually she talks to the scab, and the scab won't leave her alone. So weird. We have developed like this weird, quirky friendship. I don't know. What a world that we live in. And of course, Berry Song, Michaela Goads, I think 2023 picture book, maybe 2022. Wow, what a beautiful story. We were studying a lot of things in the Pacific Northwest with some of the Native Americans that came through there thousands of years ago. So it's really cool to see that there's still, natives living there. And the story of this girl and her grandmother, really beautifully circular tale of them picking berries and spending time together in that area of the world. So those are 10 of the books that I read. We read so many wonderful books. Be sure to check out that link down below, and you can follow along on all of the amazing picture books that I'm sharing with this phenomenal group of kids. My name is Kobe Sharp. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have an awesome-tastic day.